11 against the Bengals. Let's go to Texans at Broncos. The Texans go into Mile High Stadium and find a way to beat the Broncos 19-17 on a Brandon McManus missed 51-yard field goal as time expired. Houston extends their winning streak to 6 games after starting the year 0-3, and they join the 1970 Giants as the only other team in NFL history to do so. Newly acquired Texans wide receiver Demaryius Thomas plays in his first game versus his old team, catches 3 balls for 61 yards and a touchdown. The Denver hung a banner outside the stadium that read, "Thank you, DT," and Thomas is most notably known for catching the game-winning touchdown pass from Tim Tebow in 2012 to defeat the Steelers in the playoffs. Stoyo, what did you make of first the move sending Demaryius Thomas to the Texans, and then him going against his old team the very next week?
I assumed they wanted to clear some cap space, and they were just trying to move his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And that just gives Deshaun Watson one more weapon.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy his Demaryius Thomas comments after the game. And I have not a problem with what he said at all. And yeah, like, wouldn't you want to beat your old team a week after they traded you and you pretty much played in the same building and you won? So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be happy.
What is your take on the Texans? 6-game winning streak. Watson's starting to look like the pre-injury Watson. The Texans are looking pretty good, got momentum. What do you think?
It's great to watch DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Arguably the best wide receiver in the game right now. He just puts on a show. He makes ridiculous catch after ridiculous catch. And yeah, I did not think that the Texans would be coming back like this. But with a healthy J.J. Watt and having that offense, they can possibly make some noise in the playoffs.
Yep, absolutely. And Gavin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you picked the Texans to go 13-3 in the preseason. If they win out, you see them winning out and having a 13-game winning streak going into the playoffs?
Let me look at their schedule really quick before I commit to this.
All in, betting the house.
Yeah, Redskins, Titans, Browns, Colts, Jets, Eagles, Jaguars. The Eagles game is in Philadelphia. It's the only one that
scares you?
I think would be a real struggle, especially with how the Redskins played this last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might be off by 1. I think they might go 12-4, but the way that they're playing right now, to win this game in Denver, I think shows that they're firing all cylinders. Deshaun Watson now joins the likes of Kurt Warner and Dan Marino as quarterbacks to throw for 35 plus touchdowns in their first 16 games.
Wow!
So that's good company to be keeping, and I think that we're seeing the Deshaun Watson that we saw right before he got injured in this last season, and the Texans, they got a little bit better defense. Forcing another takeaway from the Broncos, who now have a giveaway in 12 straight games. So Texans are looking really good, and the Broncos are better than their record looks. They're 3-6, but they've lost 5 of those games by 7 or fewer points. So look a little bit better than their record, but I think the Texans definitely the better team. Clearly.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a little credit for that because the Texans haven't lost since I went to the Texans-Colts game, and they were 0-3. So I was a little good luck charm to the Houston Texans. For the Broncos, kicker Brandon McManus was hard on himself after kicking 1 of 3 on field goals in the game and missing the potential game-winning kick, calling his 2 misses, quote, terrible kicks. Denver heads into their bye week and will look to bounce back in Week 11 at the LA Chargers. Let's go to Chargers at Seahawks, where I was on board with the Seahawks finding a way to win this game, but the Chargers go into CenturyLink Field and snatch a big road win, 25-17 over the Seahawks. LA wins their 5th straight in Phillip Rivers' 200th consecutive start, joining only Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning to do so. Hell of a win here for the Chargers. Wouldn't you say, Stoyo?
Absolutely. I thought that the Seahawks were going to protect home field, especially since this was the first game back home after the death of their owners. I don't know, I thought Seattle was going to win this, but somehow, I don't know why, I'm just not a believer in the LA Chargers.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know why, I just don't find them threatening one bit. Maybe it's because their fans don't care about them either, and how can you win without a fan base?
Yeah. We'll see.
And also, I don't know why, but Phil Rivers is a good QB, but always ends up, I don't know, too close of a call and just can't finish the job. I feel like the Chargers should have at least won a Super Bowl in the past, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, Rivers has played well enough, and in his career, you would have think that they would have at least gone to a Super Bowl at some point.
Yeah.
There's that Brady and Manning problem.
Yeah.
That prevented him from going to probably at least 3 Super Bowls in the LT era.
Yeah, Peyton in his own division for some of that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I guess.
Now he's got the young record-breaking Mahomes in the same division, so.
Guy can't catch a break.
Yeah, seriously. Surprisingly, in this game, the Seahawks had a chance to force overtime after a late pass interference call that resulted in 1 untimed down for the Seahawks, trailing by 8. But a hell of a defensive play by Chargers safety Jaleel Addae, breaking up the pass, quote, "I got my last fingernail on it," end quote. Phillip Rivers after the game, quote, "We found a way to win. These kind of wins are huge," end quote. Gavin, what do you think? I mean, a huge win. Do you see the Chargers possibly? I mean, do you think they can get into the playoffs? They look like a pretty good wild card team at least.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely make it into the playoffs. The Chiefs are definitely the best team in their division, but I think that they're going to be able to work their way into a wild card spot. AFC is a little bit weaker at the top this year than in years past, so I don't think they'll have any issues getting in to at least the playoffs. But I think that I would say that home field advantage is going to escape them, but even if they won their division, home field advantage would escape them because no one in LA cares about football.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you move 2 teams to LA, Goodell?
Yep. Yeah, it was like when the Rams and Packers played, and it was like 60% Packers fans in there.
It's insane.
Yeah. Russell Wilson, he throws an uncharacteristic late pick 6 to Desmond King that gave the Chargers a 15-point lead with under 7 minutes to go. That really hurt him in this one. And the Chargers have released kicker Caleb Sturgis following the game after going 0 for 1 on field goals and 1 of 3 on extra points. And in his place, they have signed kicker Michael Badgley. The Seahawks will look to soar again in Week 10 at the LA Rams. Let's go to the Rams at the Saints, where the Saints march past the then undefeated Rams 45-35 in the Superdome to extend their own winning streak to 7. Drew Brees goes 346 for 4 yards and 4 touchdowns in his usual big game form. And star wide receiver Michael Thomas sets Saints franchise record with 211 receiving yards on 12 catches and a touchdown, which also included an homage to former Saints great wide receiver Joe Horn by pulling a flip phone out of the goalpost in the end zone and pretending to answer the call. Some criticized this celebration, saying he could have cost the team the game, but I see it as a great show of appreciation to a great player that came before him. Joe Horn on the celebration, quote, "When I saw him bring out the flip phone, I teared up. That's something that some kids don't do. Pay homage to an old soul. I'm humbled, end quote. Troy Aikman sure didn't like it. What's your take on it, Gavin?
I think I'd agree with Aikman.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. I remember when Joe Horn did that, and I don't have an issue with and I'd appreciate what he did. But given that this could be the most important regular season game that he's going to play this season, and with the game being as close as it was, I just don't think the timing was right. Especially when you're looking to give an advantage to one of the best, if not the best, offenses in the NFL. When you're up by just a touchdown. So I can appreciate it. I just think he should have done it, when they're playing the Buccaneers or something.
To that point, the winner of this game could really determine home field advantage in the playoffs. So
absolutely, yeah. This could be, like I said, the most important regular season game because it decides that. I think we all agree that these teams are both going to the playoffs, and that there's a good chance that they'll face each other at some point, even if it's in the NFC Championship. And if they have to play in LA because of something like this, where they gave them 15 extra yards in the kickoff, I don't think that Joe Horn even is going to consider it being worth it. But this is all coming after me saying that LA doesn't give you home field advantage to anybody, so maybe it's not that big a deal.
What do you think, Stoyo? Are you on Aikman's side, or are you on Michael Thomas' side?
I'm on Michael Thomas' side. I love that play.
Yeah.
And after you destroy a team for 211, you can do whatever you want. It's not like he mooned the crowd or flipped off the crowd. He pulled out his cell phone. And to Gavin's point, yeah, they're only up a touchdown. Even if LA tied the game, Drew Brees would just have to throw it back to Michael Thomas. Or burn him for 11. He could have burned him for 300. At that point, it doesn't really matter. I just loved it. I knew there was a Joe Horn homage, and yeah, I love it. I would love if someone on the Cincinnati Bengals, maybe even AJ Green, scores a TD and has an homage to Chad Johnson.
Yeah, or Tyler Boyd. I'd like to see one of those guys do it.
Football is it's supposed to be fun. We watch it for like 6 to 8 hours on Sunday. Yeah, I want to be entertained, and plays like that make it worth the while for me.
Yep.
But if the Rams had come back and scored a touchdown because of their field position, and I don't think Sean McVay would be one to avoid going for a 2-point conversion for sure, and they lose that, I think there's a lot of Saints fans that would disagree with you that it was okay to do it then, and that he had freedom to do whatever you want. At some point, you have to look at the team more than you look at yourself. And yes, it did turn out well this time. So hindsight is 20/20. But when you don't know what's going to happen, I think it's a little risky to make that move. Like I said, I appreciate it. I remember when Joe Horn did it, and I knew what he was doing exactly when he did it, and I liked that part of it. I just wish he'd done it when he was playing a inferior team and when there wasn't as much on the line and it wasn't as big a risk.
This wasn't even like. This is 9 weeks into the season. This wasn't in the playoffs. It turned out well, I think.
Well,
yeah, it turned out well, but the game wasn't over at that point.
The game was not over.
If there's a game-winning touchdown, do whatever the hell you want. But when the game's on the line against clearly a great team, they were undefeated when they came in.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would agree. I think if they had blown the game, then this would be a huge story. But because they didn't, then we can forgive it. So I think that I can see both sides of it.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
Why is pulling out a cell phone flaggable?
Yeah, I agree. They called it a prop. How about instead of flagging the guy, let him do an homage. Let's let these guys bring a little of their personality, a little fun to the game.
Yeah.
We're talking about very different, like a totally different discussion now at this point. I agree with you, but it's not even close to the same thing.
Let's go to the Rams head coach Sean McVay after the game, quote, "We're good. We love it. You find out about yourself when you have a little bit of adversity," end quote. A good game from Jared Goff, threw for 391 yards, 3 touchdowns, but not quite enough. And just when the Saints are looking their best, they decide to add to their already talented roster, signing free agent wide receiver Dez Bryant. Gavin, how much of an impact do you think this has on the Saints?
I think this is a really good signing. One of the biggest downfalls to having Dez Bryant on your team is that he can be a bit of a diva. We've seen him do it in the past, but I think going to a team where you have Sean Payton as your head coach and Drew Brees as your quarterback, even if we know that Dez Bryant isn't going to be the number one receiver on this team, but I don't think that he's going to care. Even if he doesn't get a ton of looks every game, he's got to know that if he opens his mouth and complains, he's gone. They don't need him. They just beat the best team in the NFC other than them without him. So adding him is a good addition. He's lost his step, but I think he can be a great red zone target and a good short intermediate guy. Good hands. So I think it's a good signing. And it's a lower risk for them than other teams just because of the infrastructure they have. Similar to Josh Gordon playing for the Patriots, problem guys tend to be not as big of problems for well-organized teams, or they don't play for those teams.
Yeah, when you got well-established leaders around them that will hold them accountable. Stoyo, what do you think of this? Dez Bryant's never had a quarterback like Drew Brees. You think this is a good fit?
I did not like this signing.
Okay.
I don't understand why the Saints would do that. I think the risks are way bigger than the reward. I don't know. I don't believe that Dez thinks that he's not a number one receiver.
He's gonna
in his mind, he's a number one receiver. If he believes that he's a number 3 receiver, then I don't have a problem with the signing at all. But I just don't believe that Dez is going to be happy receiving 4, 5 target max in the game. I remember him last season freaking out the sideline several times. I just think that this is not going to end up well. I believe he's to be upset at some point, and he's going to not even last the season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If Dez Bryant can go there, and if it doesn't work out, if he's bitching at Drew Brees and Sean Payton and saying, give me the damn ball, this isn't Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has your back. This isn't Jerry Jones. They'll cut you the next week. So hopefully Dez Bryant humbles himself and falls in the line, and he can be a part of a possibly Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what the Saints did last year with Adrian Peterson. He was yelling at Sean Payton on the sideline, and they cut him.
Yeah.
They traded him away. They said, all right, we're done with you. We don't need you. We have Alvin Kamara and
Ingram.
Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
We do not need you. The Saints do not need Dez Bryant. Michael Thomas right now is on pace for 140 catches this season, 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns. Right now he's on pace to beat Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham for most receptions in their first 3 years by 50 receptions.
Oh, you won't hear
AJ Green.
Yeah, you won't hear an argument.
He's gonna fly past those other two guys.
You won't hear an argument from me. Michael Thomas is slowly winning me over. He's an outstanding wide receiver, a true number 1. And as much as it pains for me to root for an Ohio State guy, this dude is balling.
Yeah. It's fucking amazing.
The Rams will look to get back to their winning ways in Week 10 with a home game against the Seahawks. Let's go to Sunday Night Football, where the Packers go to Foxborough, and Tom Brady leads the Patriots to a 31-17 win over the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady throws for 294 yards and a touchdown in the win. Brady, after the game, quote, anytime you beat a good football team, it feels good. So 7-2 is a long ways from 1-2 where we were, end quote. Big win for the Patriots here. Stoyo, 6-game winning streak for New England. They seem to be hitting on all cylinders now.
Yeah, this is classic New England in November.
Mm-hmm.
Just no problem, regular season, just more wins. How did they do it? I do not know. But I'm happy. I bet the Patriots, and I won, so I'm happy about that. I don't always cheer for the Patriots, but when I do, they're playing the Packers.
Well, they go and they do what some considered maybe a risky move, but they get pothead Josh Gordon to come in, and he comes up big. 5 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. Josh Gordon is coming through for that team. He could be a weapon, a dangerous weapon come playoff time. So, what do you think of the Packers, who are now sitting below 500, moved on from Ty Montgomery and HaHa Clinton-Dix last week, and many are saying Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat there?
Definitely. I think that Mike McCarthy will be gone at the end of the season.
Yeah.
His relationship with Mr. Rogers has not worked out correctly the past few seasons. It's always good when the Mighty Bears are first in the North and the Packers are not. It feels like all is right in the world.
Yep.
But unfortunately, we're only in November. And I've seen this train before.
Yep.
So we got to wait till December and see what happens. Because when you have the best QB in the league, you're never really out. But I will say that I still don't understand why HaHa was traded.
Mm-hmm.
I think HaHa is an above-average safety, and they could have used them. So now I can finally cheer for him wholeheartedly, as I liked him, and I wanted the Bears to draft him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Gavin, the Patriots hitting on all cylinders, and the Packers, this could have been a closer game, but another running back fumble, timely fumble, really hurt them. What'd you think of this game?
It was actually, I think, a better game than a lot of people would think just by looking at the score. That costly fumble there by Aaron Jones, the first of his professional career,
Wow.
gave the Patriots a chance to come back. They had kind of a fluky touchdown to Josh Gordon there at the end, his 55-yarder, to put them up by double digits. And if you look at, if you watch the game, Tom Brady was struggling a little bit to throw the ball against this Packer defense.
Mm-hmm.
You take away that last play, and Brady doesn't even have 250 yards and doesn't have a touchdown. So struggling to throw the ball a little bit against the Packer defense, but their defense also was able to shut down, Aaron Rodgers. So their defense is looking good, and they're hoping to get Sony Michel back this next week, and he was great for them the weeks that he did play. So I think that this is going to be critical for the Patriots' success, to be able to have a stout actual running game. And Sony Michel, he fits that role as a downhill runner. Cordero Patterson worked well for them this game, but I don't think that would be a long-term solution for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Getting Michelle back will be big for the Patriots. Get James White catching some balls as well. Good news for the Packers is the emergence of wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who caught 3 passes for 101 yards. And Packers safety Jermaine Whitehead, if you guys remember this, was ejected in the second quarter of this game for an open-handed slap to Patriot center David Andrews' helmet. This is a weak call in my opinion. But Green Bay apparently didn't think so because Whitehead was released from the team on Tuesday and has since been signed by the Cleveland Browns. What did you make, Stoyo, did you see this, and did you think Jermaine Whitehead should have been ejected for that?
I did not see it.
I didn't like it at all. They got into a scuffle. I get it. If you throw a punch, you should get ejected, but I've seen people throw punches and not get ejected. He hits him, he gives him a slap, and you see that all the time, and he gets thrown out of the game. Weak call. What do you think, Gavin?
It's tough. I mean, the NFL is trying to keep these kind of escalations out of the game, and so I think they're a little bit stingy on the calls. But if they make the rules, they need to enforce them. And I haven't read the NFL handbook and all that legalese to know exactly what the what the ruling is, but in this day and age, they have replay, and when it comes to ejecting a player, I think if they choose to do that, then it's probably because they did something they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. I would say this, if the NFL enforced all the rules that they put in, that we'd be watching a crap product, because if we're calling all the body weight tackles and all the helmet to helmet, we won't be enjoying the game. That's a point that I wanted to make on this podcast, on this episode, is that I'm appreciative that the NFL has backed off all those calls that we saw earlier in the year. No bad calls are really affecting the outcomes of these games. We saw some pretty good football this week, some fun to watch football, and I like that the refs are, for the most part, staying out of it. So, some bad news for the Packers, though, is wide receiver Geronimo Allison, expected to be out at least 8 weeks, could return for the playoffs if they make it, and Green Bay will look to get back to 500 in Week 10 against the Miami Dolphins. Let's go to Monday night, where the Titans go into Jerry World and steal a win 28-14 behind 3 Super Mariota touchdowns. Mariota bounces back from 2 early fumbles to lead the Titans to the win, and the Titans end their 3-game losing streak. Stoyo, what'd you make of this game? Good win for Tennessee on the road.
Big win for Tennessee. I did not see this coming either.
Yeah.
Just, do you guys think that Amari Cooper is really worth the number 1 pick?
Hell no.
No.
I think I just don't know what Dallas is doing, and
They could have got Demaryius Thomas. I would have much rather had him.
well, Demaryius Thomas is a bit older,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. I just wouldn't have done that. I think Dallas's major issue is, number 1, Jason Garrett, and number 2, Jerry Jones,
Yep.
because he's getting older and older, and since Aikman retired, I don't think Dallas has had a playoff victory. So at some point, he probably needs to realize that he's not doing Dallas any favors. So at some point, he should, I guess, retire or give control to football operation to someone else.
Yeah. Gavin will be quick to remind you the Cowboys have 1 playoff win.
I'm sorry.
You can go fuck yourself.
That one, I remember something about a pass, a flag being thrown, or something.
that was their next game. They should have 2 wins, but the refs fucked them out of one of them. No, that was the poor NFL rules screwed them out of a second playoff win.
That's true. That was a catch all day.
I was referring to you guys.
I know. I'm trying to avoid talking about that.
He's trying to skip it.
I'm talking about how they should have beat the Packers. We can all get on board with that. They should have beat the Packers.
Gavin, tough loss for the Cowboys in their playoff hopes. First home loss in their last 4 home games. Do you think this is coming down to the end of the reign for the Clapper, their Jason Garrett there in Dallas?
I hope so, for the sake of their fans, but at the same time, they're my most hated team outside of our division, so I love to see them struggle.
Nice.
I wish nothing good for the Dallas Cowboys. You can thank Jerry Jones and some poor fans in my elementary school days for that. But they beat my Buffalo Bills. I was a huge Thurman Thomas fan when I was a kid. Anyways, the trading for Amari Cooper, first round is too much, but they obviously look to use him, forcing the ball to him, led the team in targets, receptions, and yards. Got a touchdown, which is good, but they are 1-7 when down by 7 or more points in the Dak Prescott era. So I think that they're gonna have to find ways to not put themselves in that situation, because Prescott doesn't seem to be able to get them out of that hole.
Damn, that sounds like a Bortles stat. That's not good.
I mean, and you don't think of the Cowboys as being a team that has to have a giant lead in order to win, but Prescott struggles when he's behind late in games. So they obviously benefiting from having Zeke Elliott, one of the best running backs in the league. Can't fault them for that. But it looks like he is even more critical part of their offense and the success they had 2 years ago than some might have expected.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's go to Week 10 predictions. Let's go to Thursday night. We actually have a good game on a Thursday night. The 6-2 Panthers at the 5-2-1 Steelers. Where are you leaning on this one, Stoyo?
Probably the Steelers.
Yeah, at home.
Yeah.
That'll be a tough game. What do you think, Gavin? The Panthers are hot right now.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. Might be the best Thursday night game that we have for the next decade. But I'm going to go with the Panthers on this one, actually.
Oh, wow.
Tough to pick against the Steelers coming off their win, but I think they might be riding a little high off of beating their division opponent, their biggest rival. And the Panthers, I think, over the last couple of years have felt hungry, a little bit underrated after losing the Super Bowl a few years back. So I got Panthers in this one in a close game.
Okay. I'm gonna go Steelers, but it's a tough pick. It's only because they're at home, and I trust Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers to be more consistent than the Panthers. But I've been picking against the Panthers a lot this year, and they've been proving me wrong. So it's gonna be another example of that. Let's go to Sunday, where the 3-5 Lions, go to Soldier Field to take on the 5-3 Bears. So, where are we leaning here?
Nah, Bears.
Are you guaranteeing this one, or what do you think?
I'm gonna say Lions 17, Chicago Bears 52.
All right, Gavin, what are you thinking?
I've got the Lions in this one.
All right.
Oh no. No. Gavin, you want to put a 6-pack on this?
You can get the 6-pack from Alex if I
want.
Those
are super difficult to get.
No, trust me. I'm like a year overdue at this point, and now he's moved 2,000 miles away from me. But no, I've got Detroit in this one. As I talked about before when we were talking about our loss to the Vikings this last week. Even with 10 sacks, we were still relatively in this game. I know the Bears' defense is good, but I think that we were able to stifle a better offense in the Vikings and keep ourselves in the game for the most part. And so I think that we're going to be able to get a win here. I can't believe that the line is 6.5. Like, that just seems crazy to me. Like, I would be betting Lions for sure if I was into that sort of thing.
I believe. What's up? All right, go ahead. I'm gonna go Bears here. I fully expect Khalil Mack to be playing in this game after missing the last two, and I think that's a big factor. I think he'll be healthier, and I think this is a big game for us, a chance to prove that we're for real and to get to 6-3, which is very needed. I got the Bears 34, the Lions 17. Let's go.
Who's going to score those points for you?
Defense. Two defensive scores.
And you guys you have a jaded view.
Yeah, we do. I'll admit to that.
Points 2 weeks in a row.
Let's go to Saints at Bengals. The 7-1 Saints at the 5-3 Bengals. A big opportunity for the Bengals. Tough road game for the Saints. Where are you leaning here, Stoya?
The Saints.
Saints in Cincy. All right, what do you think, Gavin?
Yeah. Definitely going with the Saints. I believe that AJ Green is going to be out of this game.
Oh, wow.
And while Tyler Boyd has been looking good this season, I think a large part of that is because AJ Green's on the opposite side of the ball, or opposite side of the field as him. So I think that the Saints are going to be able to win this one without them having, probably their best offensive weapon.
Yeah, I would like this to be a good game, but I don't know if I see it. I got Saints as well. Let's go to 7-2 Patriots at the 4-4 Titans in a rematch of the playoffs divisional round last year. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Patriots over the Titans. Where are you leaning here, Gavin?
Definitely the Patriots.
Yeah. You think it'll be close or no?
I'll say less than double digits.
Yeah.
It'll be single digits, but it'll probably be 9.
The one interesting factor here is Mike Vrabel is the Titans head coach now. Also, you got Malcolm Butler there in Tennessee.
Yeah, but he's awful.
Malcolm.
There's no question why he didn't play in the Super Bowl last year. He has not been good this year. Like that conversation, you can put it to bed.
Nah, I'm not ready to put it to bed. Stoya, what do you think?
Apparently, Butler, the savior, would have taken down the Philadelphia Eagles by himself. But I don't know. I kind of want to say this is a game that the Patriots are going to overlook. And somehow, some way, Bill Belichick likes to lose against his former pupils. So I'm going to pick Tennessee in the trap game of the week.
I'm gonna stick.
There's this guy on Tennessee. His name's Kevin Byard.
Yeah, I like him.
Not gonna let anybody forget about. Not gonna let the Patriots forget about this game.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
He'll keep them motivated throughout the week. Speaking of, that guy ran onto the Dallas Star.
Yeah, an homage to T.O.
After his pick.
Yeah. We had 2 homages this year.
Do not approve.
Oh, I liked it. I like that one more than the Michael Thomas one.
Oh man. Oh, that hurts me. Not even the same situation. The 49ers and Cowboy rivalry in the 90s, like you can't even like quantify the Titans Cowboys rivalry because there is none. Kevin Byard just is a cocky little dude.
Well, I mean, hey, when you're just a fan and you get an opportunity to run onto the Star, sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, well, someone needed to go knock him out.
Hey, look, they did it when T.O. did it, yeah.
I know. He should have gotten pounded by the entire offensive line.
Let's go to the Jags at the Colts. 3-5 Jags at the 3-5 Colts. Are the Jags going to bounce back and be anything like what we thought in the preseason or anything like they were last year? What do you say, Stoyle?
Well, I called them that you're going to have a flop of the year, so the Jags are exactly who I thought they were.
Okay. So
I'm going to have the Colts winning this one.
Speaking of the Colts, Andrew Luck coming off that surgically repaired shoulder is having a great year for them. So good for Luck to see him back. Where are you going with this, Gavin?
Yeah, I got the Colts as well. I don't think it's going to be an extremely high-scoring game, but the Colts' defense is looking better this year than it has in years past, and Blake Bortles is regressed to pre-2017 form. So I've got the Colts winning this one.
Okay. I'm not sure. I think I heard that Leonard Fournette is supposed to be back for this game. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he is, I'm going to go with a shocker here. I'm going to go Jags in Indy with a win to get them somewhat back in the conversation. Have you heard Fournette's not out for the year, right? Isn't he supposed to be back soon?
He is supposed to be back, but he's got a hamstring injury. Those are very difficult to come back from, and he's dealt with leg injuries throughout his career, even dating back to college.
Yeah.
So I don't expect him to be 100%. I expect them to use Carlos Hyde a good amount this game as well. Try and give Fournette a little bit of rest. So I don't expect a lot out of Fournette in this game. But because I said that, he's going to rush for 120 yards now.
Just to spite you.
Yep.
Let's go to Redskins at 5-3 at the 3-5 Bucks. An opportunity for the Redskins to bounce back, or Tampa Bay to get a win here. Where are you going with this one, Gavin?
I got the Bucks in this one.
Oh, that's not what I expected.
I know. Even though I like the Redskins more than both of you, I think that the Bucks defense is bad, but I think the Redskins offense is really going to struggle with them losing their receiver Paul Richardson. While he's not a great receiver, I think that that's just going to make their offense a little bit more dysfunctional. And the Buccaneers' offense with Fitzpatrick there has been firing on all cylinders. They have possibly the best combination of weapons there in their receiving core.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to be able to put up some points, and they're going to win like 24-21.
Wow, that'd be pretty crazy. What do you think, Stoya?
I actually wanted to pick the same, but now I feel like you took my pick, so now I'm just gonna be like, no,
Thunder.
you stole my thunder. So I'm just gonna pick Washington, I guess.
Man, where am I going with this one? I'm gonna go. Actually, I think I'm gonna go Tampa Bay here. The Redskins are missing as much as the wide receiver hurts. From their opening day, their starting roster, they're missing 3/5 of that offensive line, and that could be that could be a problem. So I'm gonna go Tampa Bay here. Shockingly, let's go to 5-4 Dolphins. Go to Lambeau to take on the 3-4-1 Packers. Where are you going here, Stoyo?
Probably Packers, unfortunately.
Yeah, them getting back to 500. Do you agree, Gavin?
Yeah, they've won 11 straight home games, including the playoffs. So I've got the Packers in this one.
All right, I'm with you guys, Packers. Seahawks, 4-4 Seahawks at the 8-1 Rams. I'm going Rams. You guys going?
Yep, I got the Rams as well.
Stoyo?
Yep.
Sunday Night Football. Cowboys, 3-5 Cowboys at the 4-4 Eagles. I'm going Eagles. What do you think, Stoyo?
Eagles.
Gavin?
Eagles.
Yep.
Jason Garrett sucks.
The Clapper is going to get beat.
They're going to keep him through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But he's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to go.
This has to be the final straw for him. I've just... It hurts, even though I despise the Cowboys organization as much as I do, it pains me to see them just run so poorly in game and off season as well.
Yeah. Who better in season addition, Amari Cooper or Golden Tate?
Roy Williams.
Yeah. Factor in what it costs, definitely Golden Tate.
Monday Night Football, the 1-7 Giants at the 2-7 Nick Mullins 49ers. I'm going Niners here. Where are you going, Gavin?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go Giants.
Wow.
Yeah, they're coming off a bye week. They got Saquon Barkley. They got Odell Beckham, and you think with 2 weeks of preparation, maybe Eli can plan properly, but I hate picking the Giants because they're awful, but I think there's too much offensive talent to lose this game.
You think during that bye week the Giants brought in a time machine for Eli?
I hope so.
Where are you going, Stoya?
I'm going to have to go with the 49ers because I don't think that Eli can keep up with Mullins.
It's so true, though.
That's a good point. All right, so there's our picks. Can't wait for week 10. Thanks for coming on, guys. Successful as always.
Success.
Great success, and we'll be back next week. We should have some interviews coming up here, maybe one next week. So looking forward to that. And we'll be back next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a comment. Thanks for coming on, guys. Good to have the crew back. Thanks, Stoyo. Thanks, Gavin.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. And that'll be it. We'll see you next week. Peace out.